Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Mythicast. I'm your host, Spencer, and I am joined once again by my first returning guest, the Smitty.
It's 2 times. Thank you very much, man. I really
You're
appreciate it.
like two Mythicast what Shaheen Sarani is to KYT's podcasts.
Yes. I'll take the comparison. Absolutely.
How's it going, man?
Good, good. Just been grinding that magic, man. I with this one deck, like literally this one deck.
Dude, I have not seen you this hyped on a deck in a long time. Like, you were
Yeah.
definitely not this hyped when you came back with like your tokens deck, or when you were playing. I think you were into the Stompy life for a little while there. Not
Yeah.
this. You are saying this is what you believe the best deck in Standard.
What, dude, and this is crazy. Like, I'm not just trying to do this, be like, play my deck, I'm the best. Like, I literally genuinely believe I am like a half a turn ahead all the time with this deck against almost anything. Like, Vampires is a good matchup. Scape Shift is a good matchup. The thing is, like, we're doing a lot of the things Vampires doing with those early drops. We have even better removal in Rakdos. We have just as strong a 3-drop Planeswalker in Chandra 3. Yeah, the deck is just card for card playing this like a very powerful game, super efficient, and I cannot lose with it. I really do think it's the best deck in Standard that nobody's looking at. I really do.
Well, before we get too far into the deck, don't
I
forget to
know, I
check out
know.
our sponsor over at puremtgo.com and their sponsor at MTGO Traders. It means a lot to have them alongside us. So if you're listening this week on Pure MTGO, don't forget to go to the YouTube channel or the website, check out the other content going on there. But let's get into this. So if you don't know who Smitty is a brewer. You know, that's what this dude does. And you're a brewer that likes to hit that mythic rank with his own brews.
Yeah, it's not just about brewing for fun. It's about brewing for winning. Like, I'm a metagame brewer. I want to be on the pro tour. I'm trying. I'm gonna be doing the mid. I need to qualify through arena. But yes, I am a brewer, but a competitive brewer. I'd call myself a competitive brewer, I guess.
Awesome. Well, I'm
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to you. So, this week we're going to talk about Rakdos Aggro, but before we get into the deck, let's kind of talk about your journey to Mythic this month. You've made it into the top 10 this month with your deck. What did you play against along the way to get that kind of ranking?
There's it's been it was mostly scape shift. Like 70% of it was scape shift on the way up. Variations of it, Abzan, like, I'm facing more and more like Kaya's Strauss recently. But early on, it was, Vampires isn't even on the ladder a whole lot. It's funny. It really was just a lot of scape shift is like the one deck that stands out. And this feasts on it. I mean, we have Legion's Ends. We have out of the sideboard, I bring in like 8 cards or something crazy because the metagame's that way. So the sideboard is skewed, I'd say, towards the Mythic climb right now. And we'll see if it changes. But yeah, it was just a lot of scape shift and a lot of breezing through them. They're very weak to flyers, is why I won a lot too. Not just Legion's End or Alpine Moons or Blood Suns or any of that. It's really the flyers in the race.
And you didn't really
So
try other decks along the way, right? Like this deck was just winning for you.
this is winning. In fact, I need to find that log file for the seasons. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. I want to see my win-loss. There was a time I played a few decks and lost and won, and so I don't know. It's not a total accurate representation, but it's close. So I want to see it. But yes, I have not been on a list this long, like this consistent in a long time.
So, obviously we'll get into a lot of the reasons when we talk about the deck, but why did you play what you played?
It all began with Chandra 3. I was trying to break her. I went with Teamer Elemental Aggro with her, which actually, you know what? That was the other deck, if anything, I played quite a bit. It was that, which was another brew. But it really all started with Chandra 4. That's why there's 4. And she never comes out. Not in any matchup ever. There's always 4 of her. So it all began with Chandra. It's just like, and then,
What
I don't
what
know.
in, what enticed you about Chandra? Like, was it the flashback ability? Was it kind of that Legion War Boss aggressive ability? Like, what was it? Kind of a combination. Like, where when you look at the Chandra, the rare Chandra, and for those who don't know what card we're talking about, I guess I can kind of read it really quick. We're talking about Chandra Acolyte of Flame. So it's red, red one. for a 3 mana Chandra that comes with 4 loyalty. She's got 2/0 abilities. One of them is to put a loyalty counter on all red planeswalkers. So this would put a loyalty counter on her. Your deck also has Chandra Fire Artisan.
And a Tybalt in the
And
board.
Tybalt's in the board. Dude, I've done that. When you like are putting
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
counters on Tybalt with Chandra, I had Tybalt, Chandra, and Sarkhan or something in play at one point in a deck,
yep.
and I was just like, this is powerful. Um,
Totally.
but yeah, I think is it the combination? She's also
Yeah.
got
So
the creating 2 red things. And then she's got the flashback. And is it only red spells? It's in
no,
instant or
it
sorcery.
instants or sorcery of mana cost 3 or less. It's a combo. It's a combo. Her first 0 where she adds a loyalty to each red planeswalker isn't why I put her in the deck. I just later learned that it's also a very powerful ability. There's very actually few cards that add loyalty to planeswalkers other than like proliferate, obviously.
Sure.
But I mean, it's built into an already powerful card, which is great. Like once you have Chandra 3, Chandra 4, it's very rare you lose those games. They're spending a lot of resources and you're just like putting them on that clock. Like it's so fast because of the 7 damage once Chandra 4 hits it. But yeah, the buyback in red black specifically is the strongest I think it could be, just because your removal suite, especially in this 8 set standard and everything, you have so many clean options of removal, and she rebuys it all, and you just never feel like a lot of decks like something like Gruul, you're just living off the top and it's just like but like Rakdos, yeah, I'm living off the top, I'm not really drawing cards per se, but I get to rebuy them at least, and that is just as good. And so it helps kind of round things out and help you have the answers when you need it. And it's just, she's gas, dude. She's gas.
How long did it take you to grind a Mythic, and then how long were you in Mythic before you hit that top 10?
Mythic was very fast. I mean, if it would have taken me 2 days, I mean, maybe 20 hours. Does that sound right? Maybe 30, something in that range. It wasn't a whole lot this go around. This deck just breezed, dude. It was crazy. It was fun.
And then
Wait, sorry, what was the second part of that?
and then once you got into Mythic, how long was it before you were in the top 10?
Oh, thinking. I just hit a hot streak. Did I honestly don't even know. It wasn't that much. I might have even dipped in the percents. Well, I started in the percents and then made the ascent. To get to that top, it was probably something like 12-0 run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of Mythic players right now, or was it kind of middling because of the middle of the month?
Wait, I wasn't in the percents. Hold on. That just triggered my memory on this, dude. I got no short-term memory. I jumped in when I made Mythic. I was like number 94 because I think I was there pretty early.
Okay.
And then yeah, I lost some. I think I went to like 150 or something, and then I just kept winning, and then that's when I hit 9, and I think it took 12 from that point. So it takes a lot of streak to get there.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go into the deck really quick. I'm gonna pull that up for those watching at home, and then we'll read it off for you. So we have 4 Gutterbones, 4 Knight of the Ebon Legion, 4 Dreadhorde Butcher, 4 Priest of the Forgotten Gods, 4 Rekindling Phoenix, 3 Spawn of Mayhem, 4 Chandra Acolyte of Flame, 2 Chandra Fire Artisan, 2 Shock, 2 Cast Down, 2 Legion's End, 1 Noxious Grasp. We have 24 lands in 4 Blood Crypt, 4 Dragon Skull Summit. We have 8 Mountain and 8 Swamp, so a clean split on the mana there. We have 15 sideboard cards. We have we'll just read them off, but we'll come back to these. We have 2 Alpine Moon, 1 more Disfigure, just the first Disfigure. 2 Legion's End, 2 Noxious Grass, 2 Blood Sun, 2 Legion Warboss, 2 Mayhem Devil, 1 Tybalt, and 1 Massacre Girl. So, So first of all, I look at this deck and I see a lot of Smitty cards.
I know. That's true. Spawn of Mayhem. If you wouldn't mind, we could start there, because this is a card. This is the most recent edition, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it's really because Scapeshift and Vampires, they do not have the best decks in Standard do not deal with flyers well, or have flyers of their own. You raise very well. That's why Spawn of Mayhem's here. this is a slot that could change in the future potentially. So, anyways,
It's
that's
funny
a
that
Smitty card.
you got Priests of Forgotten Gods, you got Dreadhorde Bitcher, you got
Yeah.
Gutter Bones. Like
It
this is a Smitty deck, man.
I know it looks a little weird too. It's like I consider this an aggro control deck. I don't know if that's right or if someone would say you're crazy, but I consider it an aggro control deck. It's got like really clean, quick starts, like Knight and Gutter Bones and Dreadhorde are aggro cards, but Priest kind of isn't. But the thing is, if you go like Gutter Bones, Priest, Chandra 3, and they don't deal with that, you're not gonna lose. Even just like turn 2 Priest, turn 3 Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, you're not gonna lose. So like it just grinds them down, it whittles them down, and has a little bit of like reach and yeah.
I was gonna ask about the Priest Chandra combination. Is that something that just happens a lot?
It's pretty. I mean, if they don't touch a Priest on 2, there's a real chance you're coming out with 4 Chandra 3s on 3. So yeah, it's pretty consistent. It
Okay.
really is. And Chandra 3 combos well with a few other cards. Like Mayhem Devil out the sideboard does 2 damage when they die. Just things like that. She just gets in damage. Sometimes like on Massacre Girl, you need a 1/1 on the board to start the sweep, and like you can just throw, if you have her on board, you throw them out, then you have like a Massacre Girl and a Chandra, and it's just, these plays are just, I don't know, it's just so clean.
Sure. No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you talk about how the format's weak to flyers, and you have 4 Rekindling Phoenix in your deck. A lot
Yeah.
of people are down on Rekindling Phoenix because of Teferi, so talk to me about that one.
Yeah, and yes, Teferi can bounce, but it's rare people are playing a lot of D-Sparks, Vraska's, Contempts, Obnix, whatever removal. My Phoenixes live a lot right now. There's not as many Teferis as people make it seem out to be. Like it happens, and I mean, you just got to play for that. Just know it could be coming, and if that's gonna blow you out, don't do that play if you can help it. I mean, just be aware of it. It hasn't killed me, that's for sure. Phoenix has been an absolute perfect finisher in this deck. Like there couldn't be a better card. In fact, it's the one bummer because every card I think in this list does not rotate October, which is scary shit. And except Phoenix, but we can find a 4-drop or finisher kind of card. But yeah, there's not a card other than I'm sorry, Blood Sun in the board and Phoenix that rotates. So this is going to be crazy come October.
So looking at this, I'm trying to figure out, what your best aggressive draw is, and it actually might include Priest of the Forgotten Gods now that I'm looking at it. So
Oh,
if we
absolutely.
go turn 1 Gutter Bones,
Mm-hmm.
turn 2 Priest, turn 3
Mm-hmm.
Chandra, attack, activate. We can go Legion. That's 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. So we have to do that on the draw on turn 3. But that is that right?
I'm sorry. So yeah, gutter into Priest into Chandra,
Into
and then
Night with the activation of Priest, right?
oh, I see what you're saying. Right, something like that. Yeah, using the Priest mana, sure.
Because then you get Night activation too. So both the Knights become 2. That's pretty strong.
Right. Oh, I mean, right, because now you got 2/2/3s, a 2/1, a
A sh-
1/2, and
and
their board's
Chandra.
empty, and like, yeah. And every turn you're ramping, drawing, and removing anything they play unless they answer your Priest.
Is
Priest
that
is
the best
amazing.
draw that the deck can have? It looks pretty
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. Priest into Chandra just alone is probably the strongest and what it's built off of. Yes.
So
And you know what? Knight of Ebon Legion, I do not like on turn 1. It's always Gutter Bones, just FYI. I like the aggressive start and getting him down earlier. But also on the play, like Gutter Bones into Dreadhorde Butcher into like Spawn of Mayhem or something. There's another 3 that could come up and that's totally just what could win you a game. Not as powerful, but yeah. I mean, the nut draws are unbeatable. Or like, what's great about this deck is it works clean on the draw. the removal suite can always be messed with. The 2/2/2 right now, the shot, cast down legions, noxious grasp has one. Like on the draw, it's so great because like you always have a play. And I think you need that right now, especially in 8 set standard, like a turn 1 play. You need to answer or start the aggression.
I think when I looked at your original list, it had Disfigure as the 1 mana removal spell, and
Yeah,
it looks like you might have switched to Shock. Tell me about the switch there.
just the reach, and the planeswalker. At times, sometimes that 2 damage is relevant. So it's about the reach, and the rebuy on the reach is really it. If I saw more vampires, it would probably be Disfigured just for Vanguard.
Yeah, talk to me about Vanguard because this deck, it does have Legion.
Yeah. See, the thing is with Vanguard, I'm not scared of Vanguard in this deck, which I often am in other decks like green-based decks. This one I'm not for lots of reasons. What we do have Legion's End, yes. We have blockers like Spawn of Mayhem sometimes just walls up, or like even better sometimes. Well, like a weird play is like you have Dreadhorde Butcher, throw it out in front, and make them pay. So they're paying 4. Then you have a damage, you kill a guy, maybe do 5 to them. And now, at that point, they're maybe at like 9 or something, right? Because they're paying and they're just whittling down. And then all of a sudden you just come out with like the next turn Priest, Chandra, or like throw out a Phoenix if they can't answer, and they're on a 2-turn clock and it's just over. So yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, there's no cards that I can think of that really hurt us very bad.
So Noxious Grasp destroying target creature or planeswalker that's green or white.
Yes.
What is this card, man?
I know. That's why it's a main deck, right? I mean, it's green white, but it's so strong. It's just like there's so many.
It kills 3 mana to fairy. It kills 5 mana to fairy.
It kills the Lyras that people are trying to play. Like,
what is this card, man? Like, what? I mean, we have not seen. I've been saying for years that Magic needs these interactive hate cards that are cheap. Like, I loved Celestial Purge. I loved Flash Freeze. Like, I was like, this is what Magic needs to like balance itself out when something gets too strong. And Noxious Grasp is right in that vein.
It is. It's 100% is. I mean, you never feel bad about it. Even on a Planeswalker where they get an activation, you're like, okay, end of turn, boom. I mean, and the fact that you gain life. I've messed with decks already where, like the Ajani Pridemate decks, and then there's also the Vampire for the flying Ajani Pridemate now, and then there's the 4-drop Planeswalker Pridemate. That deck's real too, I think, and that you get like you get Noxious Grasp, that like extra life gain. You have lands that gain you life. Like those little added benefits are huge. I can't believe they tacked on gain 1 life onto this. It's already so powerful. So Noxious Grasp is great.
But we can come back to some of the main mid deck cards if you want. I think we've already kind of talked about the coolest interaction between Chandra and Priest. I'd like to circle back to Dreadhorde Butcher, but before we get there, let's talk about your mana, man. Like, this looks like you created a mana base, submitted it to test the deck, and never changed a card.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the cards. You need black colorless for Spawn on 3, or red colorless for Chandra on 3, and it's only the deck is earlier weighted towards black, later weighted towards red. It's literally right, I think. I'd have to ask someone like Aura and Alchemist to verify that, but I think it's right because overall, you need the black more early, and you need the red mid to late.
So I would not doubt that this mana base might be correct. I'm the kind of person that would try to snap.
It's okay.
No, I said I don't doubt it. Like I probably agree with you. I'm the kind of guy that would try to fit in a like 1 tap land, just to like make it so that I don't have to play. Like maybe I'd even do 2, like cut a mountain or a swamp, and just be like, I need double color stuff. But the thing is like this deck, it's double red spell is a planeswalker, so you can't change your composition to play something like Unclaimed Territory.
Right.
And then like you also have 1 mana plays in Shock and Gutter Bones. So my question for you is, if you're gonna build this kind of mana base, was there any thought to like playing more red spells that are inexpensive.
Yeah, and at one point, I even had this like very strong red base where everything produced red, and I was going the oh my gosh, chain whirler kind
Oh,
of
okay.
way. Um, that was before the spawn of mayhem, and it was more control-y mid-range. I didn't have the aggression. It didn't work quite as right, but yeah, you could like. I think even at one point I also had the extra duels. Well, when I had chain whirler and I did, uh, I don't know. This deck just wanted to hit. It just uses its mana so well. I think it was what my conclusion was. It has so many 1, 2, 3 drops and then rebuys that you want to use your mana every turn and you don't want to miss that drop. And the mana's been really clean, really clean. I don't know.
All right.
It does feel weird because usually I don't like lists like this where I'm looking at
Eight of each basic.
so many basics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me about Dreadhorde Butcher. This is a card that got a lot of people were saying was going to be really good coming into standard. A lot of people were saying it was going to be Garbo. This is a card I've lost to a lot.
Yeah,
When you are on the play with this card, it can really take over games.
I like it. I do. I also think it's the one of the weakest cards in the deck, to be honest. But at the same time, like you said, it's sometimes it forces them out of their game because they're just forced to answer it early. Otherwise, if it hits a 3/3 or 4/4, it's just very hard at that point to win a game. Although Legion's End is a thing right now, so the cards like that's like a metagame call. Like right now, it's still working, and it does seem weird. By the way, I do cut it on the draw a lot.
Hmm.
It's like if I'm bringing in a lot of stuff, that's generally what I'll cut on the draw, especially with like scape shift, just throwing out 0/3s and 1/1s and 2/2s, and it just doesn't get anywhere. So you got to be conscious of when it's good, because it's pretty bad when it's bad.
Well, let's talk about the sideboard. Let's move on there. We have the two Alpine Moons. I'm going to start here because I play
Yeah,
a lot of Scape Shift. I think this card does nothing.
nothing. I know,
What
and
is
I've
this
heard the cries.
for?
I've heard the cries. I've heard the cries. But here, listen up. Here we go. Here we go. So since we are an aggro deck, I can go turn 1 Gutter Bones, like turn 2 Priest, turn 3 Chandra, like in a dream world, right? And then like say turn 4 Alpine Moon. Like it buys me like an extra turn sometimes. Like Scape Shift needs to be at 7 to like answer it and really do something powerful.
These
But
have got to be better as duresses, man. Like, there's no way.
no, I don't know. Okay, well, here's the thing. Also, let me get to one more point here. So it buys you a turn sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes they just don't have it. And their deck literally just, if they don't have it, they just lose. They don't do anything except play 1/1s and 0/3s. But that's why I have a split with Blood Sun. So I used to have only Alpine Moons, but now I have a split with Blood Sun. If you have an Alpine Moon and a Blood Sun in play, good luck. Good luck getting around that while I'm attacking you with 4/3 flyers and you're doing nothing about it. So the split works out well a lot. Yes, I've had my stuff bounced and then escape shift and lost, sure.
Well, the thing
I
about
agree it's not a perfect
the
answer.
thing about Blood Sun is like it doesn't cost you a card, right? Like I can respect
Right.
that one where it's like,
Right.
um, it's probably fine. Like,
Yeah. No, I totally. So like, okay, you're totally. But the thing is, Alpine Moon on its own is not just a card that's going to win you sideboard hate games. But with Legion's Ends and Blood Suns and Mayhem Devils together,
mhm.
there's so many things they're just constantly dicking around with it. Like it's like that they just can't deal with it all. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a combo package. Is a standalone. I agree with you. I would probably not be playing Alpine Moon as my solo Scape Shift hate card.
So we've got one Disfigure and 2 more Legion's Ends. I assume this is for vampires, and like,
Yeah.
and I think the Legion's Ends probably also coming against Scape Shift.
Exactly. Yeah. The two best decks in standard, we got 4 copies in the 75. It really helps. I mean, it makes a huge difference.
So talk to me about this figure. I mean, I really like this inclusion in your sideboard. You know, you could also, I mean, it's a lot better in this deck than the 2 mana version that gains you life. Like this card
Yeah.
fits into this sideboard plan really, really well.
It's just a little extra hate on the draw against decks where I need it. There's I Vanguard's really the main, like that's why this is here, is because Vanguard is in a large majority of decks right now. But there's a couple other side cases I feel like that pop up where I want the minus instead of just the damage. And so yeah, it's just a nice little one of that hasn't really gone anywhere, because I like it too in here.
So I'm noticing something in your sideboard, and this could
Hmm.
just be true of standard right now. You have no Nexus hate outside of Legion Warboss.
Right, right. I haven't faced much Nexus. I really haven't. It might force me to change some of this. But I would think we could possibly be aggressive enough. But at the same time, it's close. It's close because you know how it goes. I mean, they go turn 4 Wilderness and you could just lose.
Yeah, is this
So
is
yeah,
this is this? I mean, when I thought about the Alpine Moon, one of the things I was thinking of is like, well, if I play Duress, I can play that against Nexus, have some extra
that's true.
Nexus cards. But it's interesting because I also have not played against Nexus recently on ladder.
Yeah, people just aren't playing it. I don't know if they're just sick of it or if they just are convinced now that things beat it. But I think you're right. If there was a lot, I think we would probably see -1, -2 Alpine Moon, and then maybe -1 like Massacre Girl. I bring in maybe the least right now. I do Vampires on the Draw, by the way, is basically what it's for.
Sure.
And then I'd go Duress. I like that. Yeah.
What it
So, but that it is, the deck is open absolutely to changing against a metagame.
Sure. I mean, it is the kind of deck that can do that too. I mean, you could change your mana base. You could. I mean, there's black.
Yeah.
When a standard format is this big, so many cards can change in your deck list to adapt to the things that are happening because there's so many options.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I'm just excited that the deck is literally only newer cards. Like this deck is here to stay. Rakdos is going to be a main deck. Like if I'm winning this much now and genuinely believe it's the best deck in standard, and I'm not using 3 sets other than Rekindling Phoenix, or 4 sets M19, I mean, I'm excited.
Talk to me about Mayhem Devil.
Yeah. Mayhem Devil is extremely powerful with Chandra 3. I used to actually have the list as 4 of main deck instead of the spawn, but I like the flying. It was just more aggressive and clean. So it combos with Chandra 3. It Scape Shift. It's extra sideboard hate against Scape Shift. And having a 3/3 against Scape Shift is actually okay. It gets through a lot. And then if they go Scape Shift, they take 7 right off the bat off of that for sacking their stuff. So a little extra sideboard hate. And it's also, if I ran into Rakdos sometimes a little bit, but people are running different versions, it's great against other Rakdos decks too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything you want to call out on the sideboard before we kind of wrap up?
Not much. Like the Legion War Boss is kind of like a general inclusion against maybe like control or empty board kind of decks, like Nexus. But other than that, I think we've kind of touched on everything. I will say like Chandra 3 with Chandra 4 on the board is also just like another 2-card combo that, not like combo, but just power play that really can put your opponent on its heels, just plussing and adding counters to them both. But
I was
yeah.
going to ask between. I mean, with only 2 Chandra Force in the deck, how do you maximize the times where you draw bunch of mana? Like, was there any thought to playing something like maybe 1 or 2 light up the stage or anything like that?
Yeah, I haven't thought of light up the stage. Chandra kind of fills that void. Like sometimes you do get mana flooded, or even not really screwed with 24, but you get mana flooded from time to time, and that she helps with that tremendously. And that's kind of why she's in there. I feel like the 2 of kind of smooths things out a little bit, and without like hurting my kind of aggro game. Yeah, like it's still maintaining that like aggro control kind of thing. She's interesting. I really like her though. Like the card's really powerful.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on and wrap this up. Is there any I mean, you talk about this deck for rotation, so like if people are going to pick this up and craft this on Arena, you think it's a good craft because
I do.
it will stay around moving forward. Talk to me about that really quick.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Like if you want to if you're a person that doesn't like copying just the fandom events or whatever and want something maybe a little different than you haven't seen, you could I am comfortable saying out loud that yes, you could spend your money and craft this, and I think you're going to win a lot of games come post rotation. And all these cards are powerful anyways. I don't think you'd ever regret it. So
Dude, what
yeah.
happened? We started with you saying this is the best deck in Standard.
Oh, I know. Well, it's scary telling people like, yes, go spend your money. I'm just I'm cautiously optimistic there with people's money. All right,
With
it is.
other
I
people's
honestly
money.
believe it's the best deck in Standard. That's funny though.
Is there anything that you really don't want to play against when you play this?
um, Cry of Carnariums, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, I not a deck that I can think of. Maybe Cry, but Cry doesn't even kill us either at the same token. So um, I have not run into anything that's just pure, I can't beat it, or that's like 2080 or 4060 or whatever. But yeah, no. Cry Carnarium is probably the scariest card up front, but
Well,
that's it.
Smitty, thank you so much for being my first returning guest. I had fun talking about this deck with you. Where can people find you?
At Twitter, SMI77Y. That's gonna be the best place right now. And thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me brag about shit.
Yeah, no problem. If they wanna, if I know you haven't been streaming lately, but if they want to catch your stream,
Yeah, I do have a Twitch. It's also SMI77Y Smitty.
awesome. Don't forget to check out our sponsor at puremtgo.com. You can follow me at Spencer13H. You can follow the podcast at Arena Mythicast. Don't forget to check out the rest of the Constructed Criticism Network. We do Constructed Criticism every week. Common Knowledge is blowing up. They are becoming more and more popular every week. Pauper is blowing up as far as a format, so check out that podcast. And don't forget to check out the other things going on at ConstructedCriticism.com. We've got tons of content creators doing some awesome stuff over there.
I got a buddy who keeps trying to get me into Pauper.
Dude, it's a fun format.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody so much for listening, and we'll talk to everybody next week with another episode of Mythicast.
Thanks, Spencer.